Hey there guys, what's up? Just got a quick brief little introduction I have before this old movie review for Mission Impossible 2 starts. As you guys are probably wondering, if you guys watched my collaboration review with Chris Day for Mission Impossible, the first one, me and Chris announced that we were both doing a collaboration, reviewing all the Mission Impossible movies leading up to the release of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. And Chris and I are still in the middle of working on this collaboration. Both of us ran into a few difficulties in the last couple of days, which is why we couldn't get our Mission Impossible 2 review up that quickly. And I know Rogue Nation's coming out in a couple of days, next week to be completely honest, so we don't have much time. I'm just filming this introduction for a Mission Impossible 2 review that I shot last week when I watched the movie. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Chris unfortunately was not able to get a review up for Mission Impossible 2 for us to edit it together and put on his channel, because it was supposed to go on his channel. Now it's going to be going on my channel due to various circumstances, and Mission Impossible 3 is going to be reviewed by both of us. Chris apologizes for not being present for this review, but he will be available for Mission Impossible 3, which is going to go on his channel, and then Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is going to come back on my channel right before Rogue Nation comes out. And again, we're both sorry for this mix-up. We know we had it all planned out, but of course things changed. I was on vacation for a week, so that didn't help, and then Chris had personal family things going on, so, you know, we both got sidetracked. Nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoy my thoughts on Mission Impossible 2, and again, I know the posters are going to be different when you watch the review. I shot this last week, you know, my clothes are different, lighting's different. Sorry about that, but we had to make adjustments, and this is what we had to do. As Chris wanted me to tell you guys, since he's in the middle of dealing with things right now, can't get his thoughts on Mission Impossible 2 up, since I'm just posting my video or my review of it. He wanted me to tell you guys that he enjoyed the film. He did not like it quite as much as he enjoyed the first one. He gives it a 2 out of 5 grade. And then, of course, you're going to see my review for the rest of this video. But anyway, guys, we both want to thank you again for watching, and we are both sorry for the mix-up. And right after this ends, this introduction ends, you will get my thoughts on the film. And again, stay tuned for our joint reviews of Mission Impossible 3 and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. So thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. And enjoy my review of Mission Impossible 2. I'm going to discuss my thoughts briefly on Mission Impossible 2, which was released in 2000, 4 years after the release of Mission Impossible, and this film is directed by John Woo. It's this one right here. This one. That's Mission Impossible 2, okay? So yeah, I actually have the entire quadrilogy now. I just got it for my birthday 2 weeks ago, so I can hold something up when I talk about these movies. So I just watched Mission Impossible 2 the other night, and before I get into my thoughts on the movie itself, what I'm going to do right now is get into the plot synopsis. So guys, Mission Impossible 2 is set, I guess, a few years after the events of the first Mission Impossible movie. Tom Cruise once again is reprising his role as IMF agent Ethan Hunt. He's in the middle of a vacation and he gets a call. He's got to go on a mission with this girl who goes by the name of Naya, played by Thandie Newton. Something nice to look at. And along with his good old buddy Ving Rhames and some other guy, and their mission in this movie is to stop this pharmaceutical company by the name of Biosite from there's this group of men led by an rogue IMF agent. I believe his name is Ambrose in the movie. He wants to take this very lethal drug known as Chimera, there we go. I almost forgot it there. He wants to take this lethal drug known as Chimera and unleash it. And then they have a cure for it, and obviously they have this whole twisted plan going on, so it's up to Thandie Newton's character, because she once dated this guy. She goes in to infiltrate and sort of spy on him and get information and report everything back to Ethan, while Ethan's trying to figure out a way to bust these guys and bust their overall plan. And we once again get charming, confident, good-looking Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible sequel. So obviously, guys, when Mission Impossible 2 was released, that's the basic premise. A lot of people were looking forward to the second one. New director and all, some bit of a new cast. And if you guys watched our collaboration review back on my channel for the first Mission Impossible, you guys will know that I actually really enjoyed that movie. I had a fun time with it. I think there's a lot of iconic moments, a lot of iconic shots. I think it was fueled with really interesting, really suspenseful moments. And I think that's why Mission Impossible works so well. And another great thing about that movie is Ethan Hunt didn't even use a gun in that whole movie. This time around, however, I think the stakes are a little bit higher because we actually have a villain that we are following for the entire movie, whereas the first movie, we really didn't know who the essential villain was, who was working with Vanessa Redgrave or whatever. We didn't know any of that. This movie we do, so I think the stakes are lit a lot higher. I think there's a lot of more henchmen that Ethan Hunt has to take on. Therefore, we're going to have gunfights, we're going to have car chases / motorcycle chases, and an all-out, just pretty epic action movie. And that's honestly the best way to describe my thoughts on Mission Impossible 2. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I think it's mainly because not only were the stakes still high in Mission Impossible 2, the tension is still there, there's still a lot of awe-surprising moments in this movie as there were in the first one. Whenever they freaking put that mask on which disguises your face, I swear to God, I never know who's who in these movies. And I can't wait to watch 3 and 4 because I know they're going to keep doing it. I love when they do that. It's just like, you're just like, is that Tom Cruise or is that other guy? Is that, it's just, it completely screws with your mind. I love that. But this movie is, I think, just a lot bigger and broader in scope, and in regards to the action set pieces, I think are a lot bigger. I mean, just the opening sequence of Tom Cruise, sort of like, what's the word? He's climbing on that giant mountain, and he's like, not parachuting, what's the word? He's like just scaling it, with the ropes, and it's just, you could tell that they tried to go a lot bigger and broader for this movie, and I think it honestly paid off, not only in terms of just more action, but I think in terms of choreography and set pieces, because that's what really worked for me in this movie. They were a lot bigger, and you could tell they probably had a bigger budget for this movie, and they had a lot more gunfights. And I'm not saying that the first Mission Impossible needed those to make that a good movie. That's a good movie on its own right, because it's more so an original spy thriller that had legitimately good twists and some really suspenseful moments. This movie works in those same ways. Yes, there are some weak points in regards to some of the characters, some of the character relationships, and our villains, but overall this movie works because I think the Mission Impossible series always looked like a big action spy series to me. And I think this movie just blows the first one out of the water in regards to action sequences, and that's why I liked Mission Impossible 2 as much as I did. I'm not saying that this one is better than that one. I think that one might be a little bit more iconic, but in the end I'm going to give both the same score anyway. Let's continue talking about the good. Yes, the action is incredible. The final motorcycle chase scene with Tom Cruise, the stunt work is just, it blows your mind. That makes me want to watch the fourth movie even more, where he's scaling that giant building. But like you see that Tom Cruise is actually performing these stunts, which just makes it so fascinating to watch, that he's actually putting his life on the risk for these movies, and it just makes Tom Cruise all that more of an exciting actor and a really compelling actor to watch. And I think that's why a lot of people have a lot of respect for him, and I always did, So, again, getting back into the good, apart from those just giant action set pieces that were so just brutal and so filled with those gunfights and those explosions that we come to know and love from these movies, But Tom Cruise back as the charming and confident bastard Ethan Hunt, I mean, it's great. It's great to see him in this role. You could tell he just has so much fun with this movie. It's unbelievable. I love the moment when him and Thandie Newton's character first meet and she's like on top of him in the tub. Just that face that he has on. They even bring it up in the movie. The villains are like, oh, he's got a smirk like every 15 minutes. You know, I love that. That's awesome. And he just fits these roles so perfectly. He's just so charming, charismatic, and he basically throws a curveball at you. If you expect one thing to happen, something entirely different is going to happen. That whole last act, there was like three completely unexpected things that happened. Three, like, multiple amazing stunts that he pulled off, and I just mad props to Tom Cruise for this movie, and I can't wait to see what else he does in the rest of the series. And I think the new additions in the cast were also pretty decent as well. Thandie Newton was good. I love how this is, I don't know if this is it's probably just a coincidence, but two of the villains from the Taken movies are in this movie. You have that Ray Sherber guy, I can't say his last name, I apologize. That was mean. He was the main villain in Taken 2 who just sat on the couch the whole time in that movie. Then you have, oh, what's his name? I don't know the actor's name, but he was the main villain from Taken 3. He's the main villain in this movie. He's the guy he plays the character Ambrose. So that was pretty interesting to watch as well. I even think like the style of this movie was a lot more energized than that of the first movie. I think John Woo did an amazing job behind the camera with the action set pieces that he was given, and you know, the locations where they shot. I think were great, and all that really worked for me. I think the sound was really good, especially like the final few sequences. It was just the sound editing, sound mixing, excellent job. Again, I'm going to praise the stunt work and the choreography till the death of it, but it was really, really well done. And I think really blew the first movie out of the water in terms of stunt work and fight choreography. And I think the writing was good. I enjoyed the overall plot. I liked what they were going for. Also, Brendan Gleeson makes an appearance in the movie. Good old Mad Eye Moody's back. If I had to complain about anything in regards to this movie, I'm going to say this much. I had a problem with some of the character relationships, namely our main love interest and her relationship with Ethan Hunt. Tom Cruise and Thandie Newton, great on-screen chemistry. I thought they were fine. The fact that they grew so close to each other so fast in the movie like that. Literally, they meet when she's in the middle of stealing shit, and then a scene later, they're racing each other, and then a scene later, they're making out. And I'm just like, okay, I think I needed more. I just don't feel that they would be that close already. Yes, she's sexy as hell. Yes, Tom Cruise is Tom freaking Cruise, but I did not buy into that. I also feel that the villain, despite the fact that we actually had a villain that we followed throughout this entire movie and saw him from beginning to end, the fact that he was, you know, prevalent that much in the movie was very upsetting because I do not feel he was that threatening. I feel his ultimate plan, although it started to not make sense at some part in the middle, and then you finally say to yourself, oh, that's why they're doing all this. The whole movie, I'm like, why are they doing this? This whole thing with the virus? And then I finally got it when they revealed it in the end. I just don't feel him as threatening. I think he was a worthy opponent. I think he really shined physically when he was fighting Tom Cruise in the end of the movie. Other than that, I don't think he was psychologically intelligent. I think we needed a villain who was about as equal to Ethan Hunt or as intelligent to Ethan Hunt. And I think Tom Cruise outsmarted him every way, so it didn't make things as exciting. Meanwhile, with the first movie, I think our main villain in that movie, not spoiling anything, I think that was not only a big surprise to all of us, but I think he was a well match for Ethan Hunt. There was one moment in that movie in the end, in the train scene, where Ethan Hunt got the better of that villain, but for the rest of the movie, you know, you're like, oh, we don't know who this villain is, and he may have the better of Ethan, and, you know, Ethan still had it in the end, and Ethan Hunt is freaking Ethan Hunt, but that being said, I felt this villain could have done much more. That being said, I still had a blast watching this movie. It's just so highly exhilarating, this one, especially in those payoff action sequences. However, are they as iconic as the vault scene from the first one, or even the train sequence? I don't know. They're filled with more action, yes, but are they as suspenseful? Not quite. That is why I think I'm going to give Mission Impossible 2, I think I gave the same grade to Mission Impossible 1. I'm going to give it an 8.75 out of 10, which is a B+. I really liked the movie. I had fun with it. I think there are aspects of this movie that are better than the first one. I think there are some aspects that just don't quite match up. In the end, I think I did give this a higher rating, so I might like this just a tad bit more. Meanwhile, most people, I think, love the first one more. I think there are aspects of this that worked a little bit better. There are things that could have been improved on, but overall I am very happy with the way the movie turned out, and I think it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, seeing it's a sequel. And now it makes me really excited to watch Mission Impossible 3 and Ghost Protocol, and of course when Rogue Nation comes out. So there you have it, guys. Those are my own thoughts on Mission Impossible 2. But anyway, thanks for watching me, guys. If you don't know me, I'm AutobotMike18 on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Autobot_Mike18. Instagram, whatever. I'm all over the place. Letterboxd. Thanks so much for watching, guys.